Well, welcome everybody to today's video. And today I'm going to be talking about the AFC Championship. Sorry that I didn't make a video last week because I was not able to watch the game because I had to work, but I did get to watch the highlights. We beat the Bills by the score 33-30 in overtime, which happened to be the best playoff game of the year so far. Because we have to see how the AFC and the NFC championships go. We got the NFC championship later today, later on Sunday, between the Rams and the Seahawks. I would much rather see the Rams, but the Seahawks, they're tough at home, and that could be a really killer to us if they make the Super Bowl, because they got the number one scoring defense. And the Rams have a very explosive offense. So both of those are going to be quite scary, but for us. But the Broncos play the Patriots for the AFC Championship for the first time in a decade, when we beat them back in 2015 on our way to Super Bowl 50. This is the sixth time the Broncos and Patriots meet in a postseason game. The other times, the Broncos defeated them in the 86 AFC divisional round. The next time was the 2005 AFC divisional round, when they beat the Patriots again, 27-13. A game best remembered for when Champ Bailey intercepted Tom Brady and returned it 99 yards all the way to the 1-yard line before he went out of bounds. And the two AFC championships, the 2013 AFC championship, where we beat them and we headed off to the Super Bowl, and where we lost to Seattle, and the 2015 AFC championship, we beat them and we went off and beat Carolina in Super Bowl. The only time they beat us in the playoffs was back in the 2011 divisional round, when we had Tim Tebow. So our win last week was so great, but it came at a cost. On the second to final play before the game was over, Bo Nix injured his ankle, and now he is due to miss the rest of the 2025 postseason. So that means we're going to have to go win a Super Bowl without him. And how could we do that with Jarrett Stidham? Well, remember, Jarrett Stidham has not started a game since 2023. Both of them he started with the Broncos. He beat the Chargers in one of them, and then he lost to the Raiders. But if you don't recall, he started some games with the Raiders also in 2022, when he started the last 3 games of the season. He won one and lost the other 2. But in one of his losses, he played great against one of the NFL's best defenses that season, the 49ers. And it's kind of a funny thing. Jarrett Stidham, who was originally drafted by the Patriots in 2018, he played some time there, then he went to the Raiders. And a funny thing is in 2022, he started the last several games of the season, was because of the fact that the Raiders wanted him to, because of Derek Carr's contract injury clause. He had an injury clause. If he was to have got injured, the Raiders were due to owe him another, like a $34 million bonus. So that's why he started. And wouldn't you know, the year later he comes to the Broncos, and he couldn't get away from it because because of Russell Wilson's injury clause contract that he had. If Russell Wilson got injured, they owed him a $34 million. So the Broncos decided to bench Wilson and avoid him getting injured, so they didn't have to owe him that bonus. But Jarrett Stidham showed signs of flashes in the games he started in his career. Now, you got to remember one thing. For anyone that's now being a pessimist, jumping off the bandwagon, this is exactly what Nick Foles did several years ago. When Carson Wentz went down injured, Nick Foles went out there and he led the Eagles to a Super Bowl championship in Super Bowl 52. So Jarrett Stidham could definitely do it. Why? Because he's got so much talent around him. Like on our defense, we got two future Hall of Famers that definitely want to win a Super Bowl ring. That is Patrick Surtain, our cornerback, and Nick Bonito, who's going to make a case for the Hall of Fame when he will eventually become eligible. Our defense is great. We stopped people, but we didn't get a lot of takeaways during the season. But in last week's game, we got 5 of them. We've added this offseason so much talent on already talented defense, like getting Dre Greenlaw and Tufunga, both from the 49ers, to help bring physicality to our defense. And Dre Greenlaw is a guy who I want to see win a Super Bowl because he lost his last 2, the 2019 with the 49ers in Super Bowl 54 and then Super Bowl 58. Remember, it was in the first quarter or second quarter, I don't remember. I know it was before halftime when he was about to go giant on the field, then he tripped and then he got injured. It was an injury. It took him I don't even think played last season, but he's missed some games this year. Then he missed some games for getting into it with a referee, but we got some great defenses. And if we could get the takeaways, that's great. Now, offensively, we got to rely on Jarrett Stidham to have a perfect game. We got the best offensive line in the league. Now, J.K. Dobbins is not going to be able to play in this game, and that means we're going to have to rely on Harvey and McLaughlin. And then our receivers, we got Cortland Sutton, a guy who I want to see win a Super Bowl because he's been with this team during its dark time. After our Super Bowl 50, he joined the team 3 years later, and he has saw nothing but darkness with this franchise. And we got other guys like, Pat Bryant, I think, is expected to play. And we just need Stidham. I couldn't think of it right now, but Stidham to have a perfect, just play clean football. He doesn't have to be perfect, but don't turn over the football. But my big fear is if we go and win this Super Bowl, how will it emotionally affect Bo? Will it do like it did Carson Wentz? Because literally, I think the Eagles going off winning a Super Bowl without him, and then he kept getting injured. And even though he had a pretty successful 2019 year where he led the Eagles to the playoffs, he went into 2020 he had so much inconsistencies. He underperformed where he lost his starting job to Jalen Hurts, and that was the end of him. But I think, that was one thing. I think he never got over the fact that Nick Foles went and led the Eagles to a Super Bowl win. Now, my problem is, could that affect Bo if the Broncos go off and win this Super Bowl? Can it? The answer is, I hope not, but time will tell. But also, I think with Carson Wentz was when they saw the Eagles drafted Hurts in the second round of 2020. That's when I think he just lost his confidence. Now, our defense, Vance Joseph is going to have to really, really, really call a great game. Means you might want to be some aggressive on defense, like maybe some blitzes. Make Nick Bonito rush the passer more. Because the Patriots are not the best when it comes, offensive line is not the best when it comes to pass protection. Because Drake May, he's a great quarterback. He's had a great year, but he has turned over the football a lot this year. He had 8 interceptions, and he led the league in fumbles with 14 of them. Although 6 of them, he only had 6 that were lost. So that's going to play somewhat of a factor if our defense could get to Drake May. And not only that, but we're going to have home field advantage. It's really freezing out here in Colorado. It's supposed to have that won't mean much to nothing to New England because they play in the Northeast. They deal with nor'easters. They deal with all of that. It's going to mean everything. However, the mile-high altitude will mean a lot. We just got to play great defense, and offensively, we cannot turn over the football. And if that's and we got to get, our defense needs to get takeaways. That's one thing where we didn't, that's what made the 2015 defense so great. They got takeaways, which resulted in points. And that's what we're going to have to do this week if we want to get to the Super Bowl, because I'd love to see two future Hall of Famers like Surtain, like Benito, get some Super Bowl rings. I'd love to see a guy like Cortland Sutton, a guy who's been with this team during the dark times, get a Super Bowl. I'd like to see Garrett Bowles get a Super Bowl, because for as critical as I was in his early career when he just had nothing but holding calls, he really turned it around. He really stepped up. And also, two guys for the 49ers who went to the Super Bowl and lost them, like Tufunga and Dre Greenlaw, who lost his first one, and then his second one he got injured, and now he's back and playing some great football. So I believe the Broncos should win this game, and if they don't, it's no big deal, but we have to, because believe me, we do not want to see another Patriots Super Bowl. Because it's funny how when the Patriots dynasty ended, we were all so happy. We were so happy. But little did we know the Chiefs were building a dynasty. And they became one. And then after that, and the year the Chiefs have a down year finally, and now it's like the Patriots are back. Because, I hate the New England Patriots. But at the end of the day, we got to go out there and take care of business. Let's go Broncos.